You've been programmed to fail loudly. Every celebration you post, every goal you announce, every person you try to impress, you're bleeding power into an audience that will forget you by morning. The quietly successful see you doing this, and they smile, because silence is their greatest weapon. Let me tell you something nobody wants to admit. The people who are actually winning, you don't know their names. You don't follow them. You've never seen their highlight reel because they don't have one. They move through life like ghosts with bank accounts, invisible, unbothered, untouchable. And you're out here explaining your 5-year plan to strangers on the internet. See, there's a specific type of person who succeeds without noise. They don't announce, they don't defend, they don't perform. They just accumulate power, money, respect, options, and by the time you notice them, they're already 10 steps ahead, and you're still arguing with someone in a comment section about your worth. This isn't motivational. I'm not here to pump you up. I'm here to show you the mirror. And what you're about to see might disturb you, because these 7 behaviors, they're not what you've been taught. They contradict everything your parents said, everything school reinforced, everything social media rewards. But here's the thing, contradiction is where power lives. So let's begin. Most people give their attention away like it's infinite. You scroll, you react. You respond to every notification like a trained animal. Someone says your name and you turn your head like a dog. The quietly successful don't do this. They ration attention like water in a desert. Every conversation is evaluated. Every meeting is measured. Every person is assessed for return on investment. Not coldly, practically. They understand that attention is the only non-renewable resource you have. You can make more money, you can rebuild reputation, but you cannot generate more hours. And you're spending yours on people who don't even remember the last thing you said. They've figured out something brutal. Most people don't deserve your focus. Most conversations are entropy. Most relationships are energy debt. And the moment you start treating your attention as sacred, you stop being available to the chaos. You become selective, unreachable, expensive, and expensive things are valued. When you're always available, you're never prioritized. When you always respond, you're never respected. The quietly successful know this instinctively. They don't ignore people to be rude. They ignore noise to protect signal. There's a difference. You think they're cold. They think you're leaking. You tell people your goals because it feels like progress. It isn't. It's a dopamine loan you can't afford. Here's what actually happens. You announce you're starting a business. You post about your new routine. You share your vision board. And your brain releases the same chemicals it would if you'd actually done the work. You get the reward without the result. So your subconscious logs it as complete. You told people. You got validation. Why continue? The quietly successful never give their brain this shortcut. They build in the dark. No countdowns, no teasers, no coming soon posts. They understand that every announcement is a promise, and every promise is a pressure point someone else can push. The more you talk, the more you invite speculation, doubt, sabotage, and expectation you didn't ask for. Silence is a force field. When no one knows what you're doing, no one can interfere. No one can judge prematurely. No one can plant seeds of doubt during your fragile early stages. And when you finally do emerge, with results, not intentions, the impact is undeniable. Because you're not showing them a plan, you're showing them a fact. Talk is preparation for failure. Silence is preparation for domination. You want to know why some people seem to come out of nowhere? They didn't. They were working while you were announcing. You care what people think, deeply, painfully. You check how your message was received. You adjust your personality based on the room. You lose sleep over someone's comment. This is a sickness, and the quietly successful are immune. They've discovered the most destabilizing force in human interaction, not caring more than the other person. Whoever cares less controls the frame. Whoever needs the outcome less holds the power. This is not philosophy. This is mechanics. When you need someone's approval, you give them a remote control to your nervous system. They can make you anxious with silence. They can make you scramble with distance. They can make you compromise with coldness. You become a puppet to their moods. The quietly successful cut those strings early. They operate from a position of abundance, even when they're starting from zero. Not fake abundance, psychological abundance. The deep knowing that if this person walks away, there will be another. If this opportunity disappears, there will be more. If this plan fails, they'll build a different one. They are not attached to outcomes. They're committed to process. And because they don't need your yes, your no doesn't wound them. Because they don't need your validation, your criticism doesn't land. They move through rejection like water through a net. It touches them, but it doesn't hold them. You think they're heartless. They think you're hostage. You trust too easily. You take people at face value. You believe what they say instead of watching what they do. The quietly successful are anthropologists in every interaction. They're watching your patterns. They're cataloging your contradictions. They're noting who you become under pressure, when you're tired, when you want something. They don't judge it morally, they just file it. Because people are predictable once you know their operating system, and most people never update their code. You keep doing the same things, making the same mistakes, reacting the same way to the same triggers. And the quietly successful see it. They know when you're lying because your body betrays you. They know when you're desperate because your language gets looser. They know when you're valuable because you stop performing. This isn't manipulation. This is literacy. They read people the way you read street signs, automatically, accurately, without effort. And because they see clearly, they're never surprised. They're never betrayed in a way that destroys them. They already knew. They were just waiting to see if you prove them wrong. You rarely do. And while you're wondering why people keep disappointing you, they're 3 moves ahead, already adjusting their strategy based on data you didn't even know you were giving. You argue with strangers. You correct misunderstandings. You write paragraph-long responses to someone who disrespected you in a comment. The quietly successful would rather be misunderstood than exhausted. They know something you're still learning. Defense is a trap. The moment you defend yourself, you've accepted the frame. You've agreed that the accusation is worth addressing. You've given status to someone who had none. You've made their opinion relevant by responding to it. Silence is the ultimate dismissal. When someone attacks and you say nothing, you communicate something far more devastating than a rebuttal. You communicate that they are beneath your concern, that their words do not penetrate your reality, that you operate on a frequency they cannot access. This destroys people more than any comeback ever could, because now they're screaming into a void, and everyone watching sees the imbalance. They see someone desperately trying to get your attention while you continue building. The optics are clear. One person is relevant, the other is reactive. The quietly successful choose relevance. They let their work speak. They let their results respond. They let time reveal the truth. And while you're still typing your defense, they're already 3 projects deep into something that will make the accusation laughable in retrospect. You optimize for ease. You choose the familiar. You stay in situations that hurt you because leaving would be harder. The quietly successful have a different relationship with discomfort. They pursue it. They engineer it. They understand that comfort is a slow death, a warm bath you drown in while smiling. Every time you choose the easy path, you're voting for the person you currently are. And if you're watching this, the person you currently are is not enough. Not yet. They know growth lives exclusively in the territory that scares you, the conversation you're avoiding, the skill that humbles you, the project that might fail publicly. That's where transformation happens. Not in your comfort zone, not in your carefully curated routine, in the place that makes you uncertain. So they walk toward it, not recklessly, strategically. They put themselves in rooms where they're the least experienced. They take on projects they're not qualified for. They have conversations that expose their ignorance. And they do it deliberately, knowing that temporary incompetence is the price of permanent capability. You're still hiding, waiting until you're ready, waiting until it's safe. They know safety is a myth, and ready is a trap. You pop champagne at the starting line. You celebrate the contract before the delivery. You act like you've won when you've only been given a chance to compete. The quietly successful are pathologically unsatisfied, not in a toxic way, in a functional way. They understand that celebrating early kills momentum, It gives your brain the reward before you've earned it. It makes you relaxed when you should be relentless. It opens the door to complacency, and complacency is where empires collapse. They stay hungry, even when they're full. They hit the goal and immediately ask what's next. They win and start studying the competition. They succeed and look for the weakness in their own system because they know success is not a destination, it's a moving target. And the moment you stop moving, someone faster is closing the gap. So they don't rest. They reload. And by the time you're celebrating your small win, they're already positioning for the next 10. You have a choice now. You can go back to announcing your goals, defending yourself to strangers, giving your attention to anyone who asks, celebrating too early, staying comfortable, or you can become the person no one sees coming. The quietly successful aren't special. They're disciplined. They made different choices, uncomfortable ones, lonely ones, choices that didn't feel good in the moment, but compounded into power over time. You've seen the blueprint. What you do with it is none of my business.